Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be talking about Rogue Company, the new third-person shooter by hi-rez that recently came out, and a lot of you guys want to know what my thoughts were on the game, what is your review in its current state. So I did technically participate in the earlier alphas and earlier gameplays that they did have, but that was under NDA, which we couldn't talk about. But now that we can talk about the game, I'm here to give you guys my thoughts. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and answer a bunch of questions that you guys might have for the game rapid fire. So right now, to actually play the game, you can get it as a Twitch drop, or you can access the closed beta by just purchasing into it. The cheapest way to play the game is $15, or technically free if you just watch someone else that has the drops enabled to go ahead and get access to the game. So it is a third-person shooter, and you have the ability to have these different abilities. Depending on the character that you play, you'll have these different perks that you can actually buy. You can see that I bought Evade, which makes it so if I take damage, I'll be able to move a little bit faster. But depending on the character that you select, you'll be able to buy different guns, and on top of that, you'll have different perks to access. And on top of that, of course, every one of the heroes in this game has different abilities. The character that I have right now, she has an ability to shoot out a ballistic knife that will explode, which you'll see me use. There's not too many things that will one-shot you in the game, however my ability will one-shot someone. You'll see it here in just a moment. The gameplay that you guys are seeing is going to be a domination mode, so we're basically trying to capture the objective. I just threw my little ballistic knife there, and if someone walks over it, they're going to get one-shot, which you'll see the guy just walked right over it, and he is gone. There's also a melee weapon that you can get in the game. Every character has their melee weapon. If you throw it and it lands on someone, you can also one-shot them, but you can use it to melee too. It's actually pretty fun to do it, but it's not what I would consider the most strong option, unless of course you just go for it over and over again and eventually you hit someone and they'll complain about it, but it's not something I would worry about too much. But it's cool that the game does have a melee weapon that you can go ahead and unlock. But anyways, it is a third-person shooter with hero elements, but the hero elements, as in like the abilities, they're not going to overpower the game. Like Overwatch is a game where like the hero abilities like make and break a hero, but this game, it's mostly about the gunplay. But certain heroes won't have, like, let's say long range. Their kit is designed for, like, let's say close quarters. Since it is a third-person game, by the way, you can revive your teammates, but if they get eliminated out in the front, people are going to thirst them 1,000%. Like, you can eliminate people so fast when they are in the down state. Like, you know how in Fortnite or in some other games, there's like a brief moment where you can't shoot them. In this game, like, as soon as they go down, you just hold down that left mouse button, they'll be eliminated very, very fast. But if your teammate does get down from, let's say, farther away, you can definitely revive them. It's pretty fast to revive them, but you also get money from just going ahead and eliminating people or playing the objective, just like you would in, let's say, Counter-Strike or CSGO. The gameplay that you guys are seeing, like I mentioned before, is the domination mode. However, there is a search and destroy mode, or like, let's say, Valorant, CSGO, where one team's got to plant the bomb, one team has to defuse the bomb, or if you eliminate all of them, round over. This one, you'll see that we have lives, and every single time the timer goes down, it takes away one of the enemy's lives. And once you're at 0 or you eliminate them all, that's game over. But anyways, the game does have a little bit of mobility. Like, you can mantle over certain things, but the game isn't going to be super fast-paced like Guns the Duel, which is the music that you guys are hearing in the background. Because I wanted this game to be Guns the Duel, because when I saw that, like, oh, there's like, well, when I heard about the game earlier on, I was like, you can get like these melee weapons and there's guns and abilities. I was really hoping it'd be like Guns the Duel. It's a little bit more slower paced. There's a lot of camping right now going on because the way that the game is designed as a third-person shooter, you can sit behind a wall and kind of just wait on the corner. Let me go and actually show you guys some of the other things in the game really quick. So you can definitely upgrade your weapons in the game. You can purchase like the gun again, if that makes any sense, and you'll get some of these upgrades. They can vary. You'll see all the heroes here. Now, the heroes in this game you will have to unlock. Obviously, you'll have probably some type of rotation. I'm not sure how they're doing this because it's the first few days. But when you are just starting out, unless of course you purchase like the package that has all of them, you'll have to unlock them with currency, and there's two different forms of currency in the game. One's going to be free, one's going to be like the premium currency to unlock the characters, but you'll see that there are different characters and they'll have different weapons, different abilities, and of course different perks that you'll be able to purchase. Besides purchasing the weapons, you can also purchase perks, and like you can purchase like a nade of some sort. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to some more gameplay of Dallas, which is the other agent that I want to go ahead and show off, which has the ability to wall hack, but he only wall hacks against one person, which is kind of like RNG on what you're getting. You won't be able to specifically select where you wall hack. You can select when you do it, but you don't know which one it's going to really hack because you don't know the positioning of the enemy, but that's our guy's ability. It actually has a really cool system, and I really like this system. It doesn't really matter too much in terms of gameplay, but when you select your character, they do this cool little intro screen where it shows all the characters. But yeah, that's Dallas. They all have a different secondary too, which I think is a really cool thing that they have in this game. But anyways, in terms of how I feel about the game, in terms of like my review or overview thoughts on the game, visually, I think the game does a really great job of defining like what is what, and what I mean by that is there's not a lot of VFX. If any of you guys have played, let's say, Overwatch or League of Legends, sometimes there's just too many things going on, and it's hard for some people that might not understand the game to understand what the heck is going on. So visually, the game did an excellent job on it. The graphics aren't super insane. Keep in mind this game is going to be running on the Switch too, not like Switch number 2, but like the Switch as well. So the graphics need to be, you know, not too insane, but for what it does, it's good. I'm playing on PC, by the way, although I have technically played in the earlier stages of the development on PS4. The game plays perfectly fine. I didn't have any issues with crashes. However, that is an issue that I will briefly mention. Sometimes games are starting 3v4 and it's because one of the player crashes. I'm not going to complain too much about bugs or certain things that, you know, easily will be patched out in the future that are not meant to be in the game. We're trying to talk about, you know, what's, you know, intentionally designed in the game. I feel like the game feels very good. Like, I don't feel like the game is unresponsive or like if I got cheated on like a bunch of the deaths. I mean, dying to the ballistic knife, it is kind of annoying, or dying to like someone throwing like their melee weapon, it is kind of annoying, but like it's really not that common to run into that situation where that does happen. But the time to kill, this is more subjective. Like, visually, the game did a great job, and the gameplay feel, they did a great job on that. But in terms of, like, this is more subjective, I feel like the time to kill is really nice. If you guys have played Valorant and you don't like getting one-shotted, because it feels bad sometimes to get one-shotted in any game, right? Where you're like, oh, dude, I couldn't even see him, he just one-shotted me, he peeked really fast. You won't have to worry too much about that in this game. The sound is really great in the game as well. You can hear the footsteps pretty much where they're coming from. There's not like so many of these houses that you can enter that you'll, if you guys have played like Modern Warfare, sometimes it's just hard to tell where these footsteps are coming from because there's just too many levels of elevation in the game. I didn't really feel like that was a problem with this game, so they did a great job with that. But there's going to be a lot of people that will be camping in terms of like gameplay. Because it is a third-person shooter, people will do a right corner peek or a left corner peek. In this game, you can actually swap shoulders, which is a huge advantage in this game compared to a lot of third-person games where they force you to hug like one side, if that makes sense, when you're aiming down sides. You're seeing, I'm playing the game more tactically, aka, let's be honest, it's camping, because I'm trying to wait for certain people to push as we control the point. It's just more of an advantage to kind of sit back, and I would really wish that they would implement more modes that incorporated more mobility. And what I mean by that is, if any of you guys have played Call of Duty Hardpoint or King of the Hill in Halo, heck, one of the guys that was a pro Halo player is working on this game, which is awesome. Shoutouts to Gandhi. Anyways, I was really hoping that we would have some of these modes because, again, while there is games that already exist that have that playstyle of, let's say, like CSGO or Valorant, where it's like plant the bomb. I want this game to have its own mode, although I really think a Hardpoint would be great, or even like an oddball variant, where like one player has to hold something, and that way you're basically a player down, but that's how you basically progress in the game. I think it'd be great to see Hardpoint, Oddball, more modes in this game, again, to support more of an active role in moving, because once you capture the point, like, you just camp, just like you would be in the bomb mode. So there needs to be some modes for more of a casual audience, as the game right now, there are games where you're just basically dominating because the other players that want to hop in, they just want to go ahead and shoot some stuff. They're not interested in waiting, sitting there for callouts and just basically waiting on walls, waiting on very specific timer intervals to go ahead and push like you would in, let's say, Counter-Strike or Valorant. I think that this game, it's definitely a lot more casual friendly than, let's say, Valorant, where you like walk and die one shot because this guy knows his angles, right? So I do think that it'd be great to have some of these modes, but I really would like to see something that would stick out for this game. Like, overall visuals are great, the gameplay feels great, the time to kill feels great, the sound is great, although it kind of supports camping, but that's a little bit subjective. Sometimes people like these slower gameplay, but at that point, I would say let Valorant and let CSGO be that niche. I know this is a third-person game, but I think that this game could definitely be a lot more fun if they made it so there was just less of an advantage from third person sitting behind a wall waiting for something to happen, because I usually, how I've been playing this game and how I've been having fun is basically flanking. But at the end of the day, the other guy had no chance. Like, literally, he's just able to be eliminated super fast because, you know, I came up behind him, and that's just the natural, you know, systems of these search and destroy kind of games, or if the time to kill just is like that, right? But I think the domination mode is a lot more fun for me. What I would like to see with the game is some extra types of mobility. I know that there are characters that have more mobility in the game, but because one person is sitting like behind like a wall, like you'll see me over here, I'm just kind of peeking. You know, once someone is kind of like low, I'm able to go ahead and eliminate them. And it does incorporate a decent amount of team play, but there's moments if you're too close to the spawn, if you shoot them, it'll just say immune, so you can't do that. But things that would definitely help out the game, options to buy your teammates certain gear and stuff, and also an undo buy option. Like if you accidentally click on something, that would be really nice. And another option that would be good is to be able to try out the heroes before you purchase them. I think that that would be a really nice thing if any of you guys have played Heroes of the Storm. I think it's really nice to be able to do that because, like, you know, obviously the hero costs money, and if you know, buy it and you just want to try out the skill, like, how else are you going to be able to try it out? I think a try option would be nice in like some type of arena, and this way you could go ahead and maybe like see the damage and the fall off, because I believe this game does have damage fall off for certain weapons depending on the range. But it'd be nice to be able to test out a bunch of things. They kind of have this training area where you kind of can test it, but you're only locked to one hero. It's not good enough. I think that they could have done a better job at like a training ground. But that's something that is kind of something that's not really there for the main game, but I think it would just be a nice addition just for quality of life to test out stuff, like how Overwatch has it. But overall, here's how I feel about the game in terms of its gameplay. I definitely had fun for a few hours. When I was playing by myself, like in the earlier versions of the game, which was under NDA, I think the game has gotten better for sure. Since then, there's been a lot more characters, and obviously things have been more tuned up. But I think that the game is definitely fun. Like, a lot of people always say this, but it's definitely true. If you can play with some of your friends, you'll definitely have a good time as long as you try and coordinate. But when you're playing with randoms and there's, like, you know, very little communication going on, because it's a newer game, people are still learning the aspects of the game. Sometimes it can lead to frustration because, you know, your teammates aren't doing, you know, or you're getting 2v1'd or whatever the case may be. But I think that the game definitely can have a small, like, niche audience. It's not going to be taking over like Fortnite, at least in its current state. But you can see that I have the wall hacks. Like, the character abilities are pretty cool in the game, but they're not super OP where you just activate Res ability Mercy. But I think the game can be fun for a while, and I think a lot of people will check out this game. New game, fun, go ahead and mess around with it for a couple hours or a couple days. But I don't see this game being like a top 3 game on Twitch, especially right now in its current state, where the numbers are already inflated. It's not even on the top 10 right now. And a lot of these games, even Hyperscape, they inflate their numbers because they have this drop system, which there's lots of people that will be farming these keys, right? I don't know if they're doing with this game, but I remember with Valorant, there was people that would have multiple computers watching multiple streamers just to go ahead and sell those keys. I don't know if people are selling these keys, but I remember Valorant keys were like several $100s on the very first day. They dropped off fast, but at the same time, these inflate the numbers really hard with the game, and a lot of people will look at Twitch to kind of see, is this game, you know, viable? And it's not impossible for a game to not do well if they don't have high numbers on Twitch, but what I'm saying is that the numbers are definitely going to be inflated for this game. But we'll have to wait and see what they do with this game. Gandhi already posted over on Twitter, which is one of the guys who's working with the game, that there will be another map coming. So they have more, you know, plans for the future, and I think that that is quite nice. They already have plans. They're probably going to release more characters and more things, but it all depends on, you know, how well the game does in terms of its sales to actually release those newer content and, you know, whatever is the future of this game. But anyways, yeah, like I said, my thoughts on the game, it is definitely fun and it's worth downloading, especially as a free-to-play game to mess around with a couple hours, but I don't think it's going to be the next Fortnite. So those are my thoughts on the game, as well as answering some of your questions. But let me know, guys, what you thought of the gameplay down below and the game if you've played it. But thanks for tuning, guys, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. And if you're new here, subscribe, turn on that bell if you'd like to see more Rogue Company, as I do plan to upload a couple more videos with this game in the future. But take care, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video, and I'm out. Peace.